Hey buddy, it's John with Planet Tech, and today we're going to be taking a look at the M9s, an Android-powered TV box. This one is from Ott. I reviewed one of their other boxes before, a little bit more slimline, but this one's going to be a little bit showy. It does have some of the same specs, such as 4K. It does have a A53 Cortex CPU, and its GPU is A450 Mali. Again, not really big on the Mali GPUs, but we'll see what it does in this one. Some other specs is that it has 2 gigs and 16 gigs of storage inside. So the 2 gigs are for the RAM, and the 16 gigs are for the actual storage. Again, it's made in China like everything else. So let's get this open. So inside it's, you know, just a decent little box. It's a little bit showy on the cover, but you know, nothing like super, you know, oh my goodness, epic. Basic black box. We're gonna open up the little box, and we're going to see everything is kind of neatly placed inside. So let's take out some of the, okay, so that's a little flap. And it seems the only thing removable right now is this little white sheet. Okay. The actual Android box itself. It's actually small. But as you can see, it actually resembles something else. And I'll place it somewhere on the upper right. But this actually reminds me of the Nvidia TV box. So this is like a mini version of that. So this is really small. Actually, it does remind me of the Android powered Nvidia box. That's kind of interesting. So I/O is basically the power, optical cable, audio video, hardline in for your internet, an HDMI port, USB 1 and USB 2, and then you have a SD card. So that looks like to be the big SD cards instead of the mini ones, but you can put a mini into an adapter and just put it into there. So let's take a quick look at that. Nothing on the front, nothing on that side, and like that. So you could actually put like, it's a neat little interesting logo. Okay, what else is inside the box? So that actually folds out like that. So we're going to have a US standard power cable. It's not a USB charge, it's a regular little cord charger. Okay, so that's your basic plastic charger. Input, output, all that good stuff. TV remote. It looks like a mini game console, and there you have a TV remote. And then you have your HDMI cable so that you can, you know, plug it into your smart TV or whatever HDMI input device you have. This will work on a computer screen also. And then you have your Android TV user manual. But if you use any other Android device, you kind of don't need that. Okay, box aside, let's take a look at the Android box. Alright, so it scored a 4343. It did run at 2 gigahertz when fully maxed out. Let's see. A graphics test, the first one had 18.9 FPS, the second one had 14 FPS. The physics test, it had actually 35.1 FPS. And again, it is running Android 5.1.1, and it's September 8th, 2016. Overall, I'm going to say that it ran smooth enough to where you really did notice it slowing down, but and I noticed a couple times it did actually drop down in the second test down to about 6 FPS. So while in most cases you're not gonna know, it's really flying way too close to the This is flying way too close to the unplayable. Alright guys, so we have a benchmark result of about 42.3 FPS on a 1920 by 1080 screen. Performance level is high quality. So 42.3 is actually not bad. I was actually expecting something a little bit lower. Through some other benchmarks I've done, they were like, you know, barely getting out of, just barely hitting 30. So this is actually, you know, quite interesting, especially with the reflections and all the dynamic light and all the effects. So it's actually pretty decent for this little box. Though after this test, it is kind of warm. Hey guys, John here with the conclusion of the M9s from Ottbox. Overall, it was a decent little box. The UI you can easily change because we didn't really like it. The styling was actually pretty cool. It looks like a mini Nvidia Shield, but that's where things kind of stop on the, hey, it looks like a Nvidia Shield. It doesn't exactly replicate a Nvidia Shield. It plays 1080, 4K video. You know, they're not going to get a lot of 4K video content out there, except for the occasional YouTube channel. 1080 video, you're fine. Video games, you're mostly actually going to be fine. The only issue that we had was some slight frame stuttering, but that was on animated scenes and not exactly on video games. We did get some, so we say, pixelations on video game characters, so where their textures, it didn't render it properly, or it rendered it in lower res textures or characters. So that's something you may want to take note of. Again, it's running a Mali 450, so it's not really middle or top end, a top end GPU. Overall, it does the job. It gets a B+, because that's what it is. It says, hey, I'm a media box. It didn't say Android gaming box. Something like that, you're going to need like a 780T, and that's actually in the Mali setup. Overall, a good box. Again, it doesn't mean epic gaming box. Again, you know, 2 gigs would have been great. A beefed up GPU, if they're going to have a version of this that says gaming box, and an epic, you know, a higher end GPU is kind of a must. And at that point would be really, really awesome, because the higher end, you know, 762 or the 780 Mali GPUs do really, really great on gaming, and that's what I kind of hope they do with this. They didn't, but again, it's a media box. So B+, does the job, is really good. Did have some issues with some incompatible apps, but we're thinking that's the motherboard issue and not exactly the Android operating system. It's just, you know, not completely compatible. But if you want to look at this, it's the M9s. The M8s is also a really, really good gaming Android box. And we found out it had a slightly higher GPU compared to the M9s. Again, you saw the FPS test, the GPU test in this review. If you did like it, remember, hit the like and subscribe button. Comment down below on what you thought about this review or about this box, and if you have any other questions. And I'll see you in the next video, guys.